Oh, thanks, Andrea, and thanks to you and Mark for putting together this incredible space. And thanks to you, Alan, for putting together this fabulous anthology, because it provided me with one of the proudest moments of my life to follow Max up to the podium. So before I tear up too badly, I'm gonna, and don't be alarmed, I have a short chapter in this monumental thing that deals with Livingston, and I've actually cut it even shorter to try to stay within the parameters. So this chapter is called Over Easy. In the fall of 1973, Richard Brautigan came into Livingston one evening for some serious drinking. He headed straight for the Wrangler, the bar of choice among the Montana gang. The much-beloved watering hole has been replaced by a succession of restaurants in the ongoing yuppification of the West. Back then, Livingston was still a railroad town, boasting 24 bars and an equal number of churches. A fellow could tie one on every Saturday night and pray off his hangover on Sunday without ever hitting the same joint twice for 6 straight months. One time, standing at the Wrangler bar, Brautigan was accosted by a weary salesman in a rumpled plaid polyester suit, wide necktie undone. After a difficult and frustrating day, the fellow radiated truculence and glared red-faced up at Richard. "You hippies certainly have it made," he said, his voice acid with disapproval. Whiskey glass in hand, Richard peered down imperiously through his bifocals at the angry little man. "I am not a hippie, sir," he declared, enunciating each word precisely. "I work for my living." On that fall night, after knocking back round after round of blackjack and water, no ice, a drink known locally as a ditch, Richard and a group of fellow patrons straggled across the street to Martin's, when the Wrangler closed at 2 a.m. An all-night cafe slinging hash 7 days a week in an Italianate brick building that once served as a dining room for the Northern Pacific passenger depot. Martin's had a Renaissance villa exterior that matched the baggage room, one of 3 imposing structures built between 1901 and 1902. Inside, the place was pure 1950s modern, Formica top tables and a color scheme running to pumpkin and aqua. Dedicated Livingston barflies all headed to Martin's for a greasy breakfast after last call. The crowd from the Wrangler numbered about 10, including Cindy and Richard, an artist named Donna Bone, and a couple of guys who recently moved to Montana from New Jersey. They sat at a long table in the middle of a large, high-ceilinged room. Orders were taken, eggs prepared various ways, hash browns, omelets, short stacks, biscuits, and gravy. At some point, Brautigan, who hadn't been saying much, got up and walked silently away from the table. No one really paid attention. Richard was quite drunk, yet moved with a certain lurching dignity. Cindy Murphy remembered a gradual awareness of the displeasure building behind her, a barely perceptible murmuring, an uncomfortable, mirthless laughter, the uneasy sound of people wondering if the joke was on them. The folks at the long central table spun around to see what was going on. They beheld Richard passing from group to group, deliberately sticking his finger into everybody's food, one plate at a time. He did so with casual indifference, like a royal taster working the house at the king's request. The stunned reaction behind him wasn't exactly that of a lynch mob, but people were plainly puzzled and patently pissed. The bunch from the Wrangler looked on in helpless bewilderment, having no ready explanation for their companion's peculiar behavior and expecting a massacre at any moment. Brautigan wove between the tables, serene as a drunken angel, dipping his finger dispassionately into the cheese omelets and sunny side ups on his way to oblivion. There were perhaps 30 other customers, railroad workers and ranch hands, the usual late night crowd, and nothing like this had ever happened to them ever before. Not looking back, Richard made his way to the cash register by the door. He picked up the tab for everyone in the place. 3 dozen free breakfasts anointed by the touch of the poet.